Welcome to the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust is the best way for you to grow your wealth. Hey, I'm your host, Brett Swarts. In each episode, I am joined by some of the best financial, real estate, and wealth minds in the world, where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration, so together we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. I'm excited about our next guest. He's on a mission to help decentralize the way that we do commerce, and he is an expert when it comes to all things online, marketing, the internet, and building systems to help to take back what a lot of the big tech companies have currently, and he's going to show us how we can have more profits and have our own economy amongst peers. So with that being said, please welcome Amit Rathore to the show. Hey, Amit, how you doing?
Thanks, Brett. I'm doing well. Wonderful to be here.
Excellent. Thanks for being here. And by the way, you can find Amit at awake.vc, and you can also find, which we're going to talk about here shortly, shoptype.com, his newest and best venture here, and that's SHOP, and then type, TYPE.com. So Amit, let's give us a little bit of a background of you and your story, and then your current focus.
Sure. I grew up in India, and I grew up in Bangalore having the Silicon Valley dream in my mind, always wanting to be here and all that. And I spent my youth and college and 20s maniacally focused on getting to the Valley and just wanting to do the tech thing, tech startup thing. And so I found myself in the US around the age of 22. I was in Chicago for a number of years and ended up here in the Valley in about it was like 2007, 8. First at Google, and then very quickly, within a few months, with a very small group of people, that we launched our first e-commerce AI platform in 2008, which ended up being used by pretty much everyone that wasn't Amazon. We were basically telling people, hey, this is how you're going to do sales online. Amazon is a tech company; they're an AI machine. You got to like figure this out. And so basically everybody was using us before we sold that company. We're powering eBay, Groupon, Staples, a lot of the smaller guys. That little green truck that you might see on eBay, the fast and free, it says, get this item in 1, 2, 3 days. There's a little icon that shows up on a number of products on eBay. That algorithm was our algorithm on, first time it came out. It's pure AI that shows, because the eBay doesn't ship anything, has no logistics. They have no idea when something is going to actually, get to you. But they're able to use AI to promise that for a large number of packages. And that gives them a huge boost in sales. So that's an example of the kind of stuff we can do. We did a lot of real-time price changes, like what airline companies do and what hotels do. So we do a lot of this fintechy, optimization of prices and, helping people sell more to you, converting you because we know what you're doing, online, purchase intent, all the stuff that you hear about in Netflix's recent documentary. We have been behind all of those types of things, and it's not good or bad. It's just what it is. But with Awake, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the more recent journey. It's a very much a question of awakening to the reality of what I've built and what we've all done together here in the Valley. And that, we are the cause for the inequality and so much of the problems. And I think we can easily fix it with technology. And that's really what I'll talk about today. But the journey of mine, yeah, so I went from e-commerce. We sold that to Staples. I was there briefly. They wanted to apply the AI to like their entire $30-odd billion, in sales that were there in 2013. It was behind Amazon and eBay, literally, number 3. Today, it's dying, Staples is falling off a cliff because it was bought by private equity and then they don't know what to do with it. Just like any other private equity group that buys companies and doesn't know what to do, because you can only do so much with an Excel sheet, right? But to actually innovate and grow your business takes a different type of mind. It's not an Excel sheet mind, it's a different mind. So that's missing typically in most private equity firms. And so what we're doing at Awake now, we're doing it private equity in a very different way. We're using technology to grow the businesses that we power. And so that's the value addition that we bring to companies that we work with. And we'll talk about shop type in a second. It's the ultimate democratizer or the leveler or the profit optimizer or the income generator, if you will, for anyone, for individuals, for businesses, for big corporations. I mean, it's like nuclear energy. I'll talk about it in a second. But after doing that at Aruna, we sold to Staples. I left and I wanted to build this big network myself, this huge network of cash flows that would, plug everybody in myself. I said I would just do it myself. But, as you know, big tech is in the way of that. I want 1 billion people to connect. I have to pay for that. And I have to pay Facebook and Google and everyone else. And I don't have the money, right? So that's as simple as that. So I thought to myself, how do I get access to 1 billion people? So I started a company called Quintype, which is really a Shopify for media companies. That was what I did in 2014. Still running, and it's powering dozens of major newspapers and magazines like, Bloomberg, Fortune, and so many others. And in a very end-to-end digital cloud kind of way. So we power their entire digital operations, content creation, content distribution, publishing, into Facebook, into Google AMP, like just about everywhere. And then into also the monetization, like subscriptions, et cetera, right? So it's like a full on end to end. So we get access through that to like this huge network of people, all the people that are, so over like across these networks now, we've actually added up over 500 million people. And we're now beginning to launch the monetization layer, or the new layer I mentioned just now, which is shop type. It brings us back to my sort of, beginnings in a way, of shopping and, of internet commerce and businesses that need to make money, because that's what sales and existence is all about. You have to drive your top line, before you can do anything else. So sales and driving that customer and getting them to purchase, that is where everything begins, right? So Awake is a demand side economics company. We don't think about it in supply side. We think about it from demand side. We talk about where are the buyers, and we are already enabling them. Now, whatever they need is going to be brought to them. All the products and services that you need, that I need, I'm not getting that information on Amazon anymore. I go there, everything is 5 stars, 5,000 ratings, everything's from China, and it's like, okay, I mean, which one should I buy? That question of what to buy is far more important than I can get it anywhere, right? It's not Amazon anymore. I can get it pretty much anywhere, right? And so the question is, how do I get it? And it's not just the 5% of retail that Amazon has got covered, but it's the 95% of things that we buy every day, like healthcare, like restaurants, like travel, like what should I watch? And, all of this stuff, which is, everything we do, right? What do I wear? Where do I get my hair cut? All of these kinds of questions happen every day. This is not on Amazon. This is every single main street we're talking about. And it's digital now. So we're talking about the future of the internetwork of networks. All the people that come together now on shop type, for example, and simply connect their businesses. It is the ultimate sharing economy. If you know how to sell a haircut because you're very good at it and you can show it on YouTube and whatnot, you can have your followers go to the best salons and you can get your 20, 30%. And because people don't click and buy the first time, they actually have a customer journey. There's an attribution model that we can apply. You can actually pay people for exactly the influence that happens in any given sale, even if it's multiple people across multiple platforms across time and space. This is the future of the internet that works for everyone, right? So I'll just stop there. That's really what it is.
Yeah, once your New York Times bestseller book comes out, let me get a copy of that, because you can write a full amazing book on that. So much there to unpack, and I want to unpack it here and get some practical steps for entrepreneurs that are listening to this this episode, business professionals, or high net worth individuals, okay, who might be starting a new venture. But before we go there, I want to take one step back, right? Because it's really neat in the very beginning. You talked about you came over from India. You had a dream to get to the Silicon Valley and to be in the tech world. You maybe knew it at a young age. So I want to take you back to that time, right? And or help us take us back to when you were there. And what I want you to focus on though is what we like to call in this show is certain gifts that you were given. And I believe we've all been given certain God-given gifts, and these gifts are given to us to be able to bless others. So I want you to connect those dots, or connect one gift or that two gifts that you believe you were given, and how does that help how you bless others today?
Yeah, I would say that the gift and the curse that I've been given is that I'm extremely rational and abstract. I'm the most abstract human being in existence, I think. I claim that title. I say it jokingly, but I think it's true. And because of that, what I mean is I think in ways that most people find unemotional, because in abstract thought, there is no emotion, it's just what it is. It's very, very rational. So people find it sometimes difficult to, deal with me in many ways. So I've had my, troubles with that, right? But that's my gift as well, because I see things very, very, very clearly because I just see it unemotionally. So that helped me in the so-called awakening, which I had, a few years ago, because I grew up in India and I was maniacally focused on money. Let me be very clear. I grew up in a very middle-class family, and I saw my friends who were, richer than me and had all these things. And, I wanted to be in America and, all that stuff, right? And it was all about money. It's about monetary success. And it's about, what else is it, right? It's purely a class-based world we live in, right? It doesn't matter what you look like, actually. It's just how much money you have. And that's a fact. And unfortunately, it's a fact, right? And I also saw, I see that now, I didn't see it then, of course. Then I thought it was like so important to get the money. Everybody wants it. I was maniacally focused. I had many, trade-offs along the way, as you can imagine, in relationships and so many things. And finally, when I got to the point where I wanted to be, we sold a company and this and that, it didn't do it for me, I was like, okay, this is like really, now what? And it didn't give me anything that I really wanted or needed, it just gave me something like a checkbox. And yes, money, but I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to eat all that money. You're going to what are you going to actually do differently? And the people are the same and everybody else is the same. And, now it's like complicated as well. And now, so it was just like basically mostly a disaster, And so that rational thought took over there. And I was like, well, basically I had thought all of this and it was the wrong model, the wrong understanding of what happens or how it works, So that was also the process of waking up to the truth, which is that, wow, this is just activity. We're just doing things based on ideas of what should be done and all that. But, the satisfaction and joy and happiness comes from an entirely different place, which is accessible, as it turns out, to everyone. And you can be happy, extremely happy, and then be successful as well. And that process is in that order. You have to be happy, and then you'll be successful as whatever you want, right? And that's the law of attraction. You attract happy people who then make more manifestation happen. This is pure how the world works, right? And this is the rational realization of how it is and what that waking up process is and who am I and who we all are and what is all this going on and how should we operate in this world and how do we make money and also, like you said, pass on the blessings to others.
So well said, Amit. Thank you so much for sharing that. It gives me more insight, and you're absolutely right. To think in the abstract and to be able to rationally, reduce in an unemotional way what is and what's not, and then what you can actually do about it to make a difference, especially on this online, ever increasing, changing technology environment at a rapid pace. That's a revolution like we've never seen in the history of the planet, that's affecting so many things, whether it be healthcare, whether it be finance, whether it be jobs, whether it be the globalization, currency, all at once. It's like this perfect storm is just hitting, and we need minds like yours who can think in the abstract and who can help make sense of all this. So Wow. By the way, that's probably your second book you can write right there. So thank you so much for being on the show. It's really a pleasure to get to know you a little bit more here. Okay, so have a dream. Connect it with a lot of it was, and yeah, let's be honest. When you're young and your money is in, I mean, it's always probably a temptation for people, right? Money and power and influence, and it's always there. But you're right. If you're so maniacally focused on it, and then you achieve it, what I found that the major reason for setting a goal is not for what you get, because what you get is always temporary, right? Money is just temporary. It's not eternal. It only provides a position and an opportunity to help others, which hopefully it moves to the eternal stuff like happiness and character and leadership and leaving a legacy and making a difference in people's lives, right? And help free people from whatever thing that might be holding them back. But money is it's tangible, right? It's here. It's what you do with it and the legacy you leave. So you shift it from that, and I love that thought of it. So now let's get really practical on what that looks like. And I want to focus on shop type right now because I think it's kind of bringing all of these things together. And correct me if I'm wrong, for where you're at and the legacy you're trying to leave and lead for a lot of folks here. So walk through. If I own a real estate brokerage company, okay? And I'm trying to compete and I'm trying to do my help my services with more folks. Walk through how what you might say to me if we're talking for the first time.
Well, if I'm talking for the first time, it would be a slightly easier conversation. I would, first of all, preface it a little bit. I would try to explain, what is it that we are really addressing for any business, right? Before we get to your business, I'm just going to briefly describe the problem that any business has on the internet today. And the internet, as we know it, is a network of networks. The internetwork, that's why it's called the internet. Okay, it's a bunch of networks that come together and form the internet. The internet with a capital I, and it for us means Facebook and Google and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube and all these things that we are all using every day. It's about 50, 60 platforms out there, maybe 100. And the rest of us are, users. And there is a couple of these players that are operating systems like Apple and Google. And to some degree, Facebook is now almost like an OS, for most people. Many people around the world feel that they actually don't have access to the internet, but they use WhatsApp and Facebook. That's literally how some people are around the world, where they get these phones given to them. They don't really know very much. It's all they know. And they don't have the internet, but they have Facebook and WhatsApp. So that's the world we live in. So if you look at how business operates on this internet, it's how the big tech makes money. The big tech companies make money when you and I that have businesses want to get more customers. We want to scale our business. So we go to these social media platforms and we give them videos about us, for example. Let's say you and I are doing this podcast, right? And we put this out there on Facebook or YouTube and it goes viral. Let's say 10 million people see this, all entrepreneurs, that they all now know how shop type works and how capital gains tax solutions fits into it. And now they've got this incredible cash flow engine. I'll explain what that is. But let's say these 10 million people see this, and we're also happy that we went viral. Now what? How are we going to reach these 10 million people to actually do business with them? If you and I want to reach them, we got to pay Google. We gave them the content for free. They said it's a social network, social media, they called it, right? And so we gave it to them. All these people viewed it. Everybody is benefiting. Everyone's happy. But if I want to reach them on the social media platform where I gave them the media for free, which they said would be great and it's social, I can't do it. I have to pay them. And I have to pay them a lot of money and I have to rent them the information from them every day. It's not like I will get that list. I will be able to show them ads, basically, anonymized, and hope that 1% conversion, makes it happen for me. So this is the extraction that we are plugged into. This is the internetwork that we are talking about. We don't see it because the businesses are behind the scenes. but the consumers have a free kind of layer on top of all this, right? But that's the internet. And how much is this money? If you look at digital transaction costs, Fortnite, the game, is in the news right now, because there's, in this battle with Apple about the 30% they take. And it's $1 billion company. It's multiple billions it's not a small company. So they can afford to go to in a court and all that stuff. For you and me, we got nothing, right? What are we going to do? They say 30%, you say, yes, sign here. Right? If you're a restaurant, DoorDash comes and says to you, here's an order and give us our 30% or whatever it is they charge, 20, 30%. What are you going to say? No? No, you give them their pound of flesh. Right? So this is what is being used out there. The so-called internet is being used, right? To do what? To so-called connect the people and then what? Extract the money out, basically. We're talking about transaction cost plus, let's say, customer acquisition costs. If you're a small to medium business, maybe that's 5, 10, 15%, 20% sometimes. When you're just starting, it's a lot more, right? So all that money is being poured into the internet. Basically, every single business, there's 70 million small businesses in the United States. And what is the way to advertise? Facebook, right? So think about these numbers. I mean, it's staggering, right? And all this money can and should be paid to the people that we're talking about, either your content or mine, or the people that are, consuming the content or are, sharing it. What is the Facebook software got to do with the trillions of dollars running through it? Right? So this is the issue we're talking about. So what we address with ShopType is a new approach, a new economic model that just snaps on to the existing internetwork of networks, a new network approach. You launch a network, your real estate company launches a network, and all your members, your customers, your real estate agents, your past partners, everyone turns into a member of your company, a co-seller with you. You share with them the upside. And they connect on the internet, all their friends and businesses and networks, LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, whatever else. And when shares happen and when people actually transact eventually, which is eventual because people bounce around, they don't buy a house at once. They talk to people, bounce around, they ask people. It takes a while. And this value chain, Facebook doesn't care. It just cares about transactions, and it'll take one every single time. Whereas you only care about the last one, and you do want the other ones, and you would like to not pay Facebook for all this extra money. You would rather pay just those 3-4 people. That's it. That's it. You would rather pay them because now the whole universe can become your salesperson. You would like that. That's the internet working for you and for everyone on the internet, not just for the networks.
Mm-hmm. So let me see if I gather this. So essentially, what Facebook is basically doing, we're giving them free content of which everyone gets a lot of value, but then you have to pay to play. In order to get that, you have to pay Facebook all the the money to actually get to potentially a customer. But it's not the entire list forever. You have to continue to do that over and over and over again. That's how they make their money. And what we're saying at ShopType is we're going to create kind of our own network, right? Our own maybe affiliate system is kind of what I'm thinking
Correct.
About on steroids,
Mm-hmm.
where
Correct.
we're connecting, we're sharing that same content, and and then we're going to do business inside of that community, right? Versus paying all that extra money to Facebook. Is that a fair summary?
Basically, and you can still do all the activity on Facebook and Instagram and blah blah blah, but you don't have to pay Facebook itself. You can still continue to do that. That's that existing way continues. This is just snaps on. This is a completely new orthogonal approach that just fits the existing model. Nothing changes for anybody except those that want to make money in this new manner. They could be anywhere in the world. They could be in India, telling the best real estates are in, Atherton, and this is why, and blah, blah, blah. They could be anywhere in the world. They could be in Nigeria, for all it matters, who are promoting good content, good information that buyers want. And it's organic, right? It's all about authentic information, organic information. Anybody can do it.
I'm thinking sort of like a credit score, but I'm thinking of it more like a content or value add or trusted credibility score right here. And if the more people that you help, and the more, I guess, it's sort of like the likes, right? They're getting all the likes over here, which boost everything here. I'm thinking the
Correct.
more folks that are in your shop type, let's call it network. Am I on the right
Yeah.
track here, Amit?
Yeah. Basically, you get this reputation score that is not only based on what people say, but it's actually based on your sales, actual sales numbers, straight up, simple, right? It's actually what's selling. It's and by the way, what people are not returning, right? It's like it's a full on end to end CRM system for the universe, right?
Wow.
And it's everyone plugs into one single CRM system, and everybody is now, why are we here? We're here for business. I mean, we're here for money. Yeah, but we have to connect with each other. We need to know each other. We need to have relationships with each other. And then, of course, money happens, right? Money is just a byproduct, like you said earlier. Right? So the money will appear, and it does appear, right? The ledger itself is the money. I can now issue coins on the ledger. I don't have to issue crypto. I can issue fiat. Think about that. So you can be like a government, issue fiat currency that works in store. And this store is a universal store. It's a global network of companies and stores and people that accept this credit. It settles on the ledger in real time. You can earn regular cash. You can earn crypto. You can earn, fiat. You can earn, because money is not, it's an asset. We are a global asset ledger that shares the economy of the universe with everyone, because we're all part of the universe.
Got it. I'm with you now. So now let's take step 2. So now we're going like, oh my gosh, Amit, this is the future. I like to give it a shot. I like to join and get it going. What would be the next step for that business to be?
So basically, you go to shoptype.com. You sign up for free. If you're already on Shopify, for example, it's a one-click integration. We synchronize your entire catalog, you synchronize your entire inventory, and we make it available to our entire global co-seller network. You can also do the same thing. You can just tell your friends about it. You can tell your existing agency partners. You can tell your existing media partners and your existing marketing companies about it. And they get a link. You just log in, and they can start to share media, which they're already doing, with the links now that directly track them and their contributions and their reach, and everything is on the platform. Everybody's wallet is on the platform. They're all getting credited for exactly what's going on. And if they're doing more of it and doing it well, they start to make a business. So this is a global entrepreneurship platform. Anyone can start to drive money for a global set of businesses, your real estate business or somebody else's t-shirt company. People can start driving leads and making money no matter where they are in the universe.
Love it. So next thing would be, in my mind, protection and privacy, right? So, which to me is kind of counterintuitive, because you're already on Facebook, you're already out there, you're already doing all that stuff anyways. But for some reason, we trust that protection and privacy, which is an illusion, right? Because they have everything and you can find everything. So, but more so, not so much for that part. I mean, I'm more thinking just like the actual currency and the transfer of the stuff. So,
yeah,
like,
very good question.
Yeah.
So the way it works is, you see, the Awake system, and I'll get slightly technical now. If you're a cryptocurrency, you'll know what I mean. We are a set of protocols, which means that we transcend even the blockchain. It's just the protocol. You could be on a blockchain, you could be on something else, a graph database, doesn't matter. It's a protocol. So shop type represents the market protocol, or the market network protocol, to be specific. How does a market network emerge? And what are the transactionalities and what are the interfaces or protocol that you have to follow to be a part of that network? The shop type network. Shop type is the name of the product. It's a SaaS company. You can use it, but tomorrow anyone can implement this protocol. In other words, eBay could implement it, technically speaking, right? So it's, in that sense, it's like a Bitcoin, right? It's like a protocol that's a global protocol, right? It's not a ledger. It's a ledger protocol. It's not it doesn't have a blockchain behind it. So it's totally, energy efficient, right? There's no energy use. Okay, so that's a very important part. Now, the first protocol that this is built on is a global identity protocol. Who is it that we are going to give money to? Because shop type is a money giving. We give money out. The buyer buys, we just hand it out to a lot of people, right? So we have to make sure that people who are giving money to are KYC. We have to have KYC on them, and they have to have their bank account connected to our ledger to take the money out. So if you have your PayPal account or your regular bank account, you can take the money out of our ledger. You might accrue it in any currency in the world or in Bitcoin or any other, whatever we are transacting. You can accrue all of those multi-currencies in this ledger, and then you take it out. So the privacy elements and the KYC and all of that stuff is at the identity level of every single node, every member, every business that connects. We have to have licenses in place. You have to provide that, like an Uber. Like Uber drivers come in, they have their own registration, license, car, whatnot. So you just plug in, right? It's the same model. This is a global, almost like a Uber for Ubers, right? It's a business of business software. Right? So that's what it is.
Yeah, fantastic. And I'm excited to get going myself, because part of what we do is we have these affiliate partners, we have these strategic alliances, we have these referral fees that we set up for folks who help us educate and spread the message of the Deferred Sales Trust to help people defer capital gains taxes on the sale of highly appreciated assets. And so to be able to have this in a single location and be able to track sales and to have it all in real time, if stop me if I'm missing anything, but
no, right.
That is fantastic, right? Because part of it is just having to keep track of all that, B, having to process all the payments, and then C, having an easy way for them to also tap into that as well, right? Because there's affiliates that want to bring in an affiliate, right? And what we're saying is, yeah, go ahead and do that, and let's all connect it here on the shop type platform. Is that a fair summary?
I'll explain exactly how that works. So we are a profit sharing network, right? Or a sharing economy. If you think about what that means, we share the economy itself. Whatever the businesses are, we share that. And our economy is to make money on all these businesses, so we share that. That's what we share, right? That's what shop type is sharing. So when the transactions happen, two kinds of share splits occur. One split occurs where you as a business have come on board. I sell t-shirts. Okay, let's say I sell t-shirts or jewelry or whatever I'm selling, right? And I come on the platform, I integrate it in one click, and I say in my dashboard, I say, I'm willing to give 40% in commissions. Because you know what? Walmart takes that and everybody else takes much more, and I don't have to drive the sale here. So I give 40%. So I say 40%. Now, on the other side, a global co-seller network looks at these products and can blog about them. They can talk about them. They can put them on their magazines. They can, whatever you want to do. If you're an entrepreneur, you can collect all the best ones and, sell them. And the actual sales happen from the sellers, which are already on the platform. So people operating in shop type layer don't do any fulfillment. They don't have any support. They don't have any, they're playing in the pure margins. Okay. So it's pure money at this point, pure profits. So we're just sharing those profits now. We turn around. So people are coming to us and giving us 40%, 30%, or 50%. Our own brands we're putting them on there for 60%, private label brands and stuff. So globally, you'll be able to make money across this huge set of products. And the commissions now will split across mostly, say, three ways. Mostly three ways. We'd pay like a good 10% of the available commissions to a person who makes an introduction to the buyer. So if 50% is available, you get 5% as an intro, just as an intro. You just make intros, do nothing else. Nothing else. You just Pinterest stuff, put it on Pinterest. Somebody clicks, you make that's an intro, right? That's a 5% passive income doing absolutely nothing. Okay. Now, another, say 40% of available commissions is given to somebody who nudges the sale, which means if somebody sends an email or you see it on WhatsApp or Twitter or whatever, on Snapchat or whatever it is, Instagram, or anywhere, frankly, if it's within, say, 48 hours. So these are all rules that anyone can set, by the way, because this is just the network rule. I'm just launching a network. My network, I operate this way. I say, 10% for intros, 40% for a nudge, and another remaining 50% for the close, which happens, say, within an hour. Nobody needs to know which part of the journey they're in. They don't know nobody knows the other person. This is an independent agent acting in, unison on the internet. Across the internet, everyone's just doing one thing: being authentic, being themselves, being, all they can. And as people come through, depending on where they are in the journey, and depending on how much of an entrepreneur you want to be, you can earn the entire 50%, or you can just passively let through whatever is happening. Right? So literally, this is a new model to drive the sale, which is the most important thing for any business.
That's
and then
amazing.
the second part kicks in, right? The second part kicks in, which is the referral commerce. You introduced me to the brand. Brett introduced me to this t-shirt company. So because SharpType made $1 million, we pay 5% to Brett, automatic. It's in the ledger in real time, right? So every time a sale occurs, Brett's seeing the money too in his wallet. This is passive, pure passive. This is not an intro. This is the referral link for the business. So when you talk about MLMs, this is the reverse MLM, because we give up 95% to the other people and we keep 5% and pass that along. So it's a reverse multi-level where we're actually sharing 5% profits with the people who brought the businesses in, and people who are on the levels, and it's just a small number. But for the person who brings in a lot of people, that's a lot of money. So and if you're on the high up in the network, it is a lot of money. So it's just that it's 5%. So you're more like a fintech at that point, right? Yourself. Like people can become fintechs essentially. Mm-hmm. And then you get this money split as well in real time. So both the splits occur in real time, and we can configure more splits. So like Stripe is what they call a payment facilitator. We are creating a new category called, we call it commerce facilitator. So we are a ComFac. We can change the rules. We can do all the stuff. We can even do revenue-based investment. So when investors come in, we take debt and we allocate it across these sales. You can actually senior debt it. You can do collateral factoring. You can do all kinds of stuff in real time. Right? So now when we talk about taxes, when you mentioned earlier, all the stuff you can do, you can actually real time this entire thing. You can batch it into, transactions that are tax deferred for the LPs and for the investors and the referral network side. Real time, you want daily wages, you want whatever you want, you can do. Pay the restaurants in real time, pay everybody in real time. But on this side, you can do all kinds of deferred stuff. You can put the companies in opportunity zones. When you can do anything, I can run a query and say, give me all the tax deferred investments available in opportunity zones in America, which are run by Black businesses and are selling certain categories and have ARR of over $1 million and have a growth rate of, I can literally run a query and give you an investment package.
Yeah, my mind's blown, Amit. I'm not sure even where to go with that. It's just so abstract, but also practical and amazing. And so the profit sharing network, the global entrepreneur platform, and the ability in real time to get paid on just what you already were doing or promoting or talking about is there. I think the best thing is just to dive in and try this thing out. You know what I mean? Give this thing a test drive and run with it. That being said,
we're looking for beta customers. We'd love to work with the early guys and people, girls and gals. We're working with them personally. It's early days, so we're excited. If you want to try it, totally.
Absolutely, I'm going to try it for sure. We're running out of time, so I want to shift to capital gains tax deferral, and then we're going to the lightning round. So would you share with our listeners, because by the way, you sold a company, it sounds like a pretty big company, and you sold it to Staples, right? I'm curious, what did you do with the capital gains tax, and what did your partners do when you guys sold that?
I usually make this joke that we make money as entrepreneurs and lose it as angels. So I lost a lot of money in angel investing over the years. I've invested in a whole bunch of companies, of course, and made money too. But really, we need a system. To your point, you need a system. You need to have that well thought through. And if it's not thought through, then it's just not done right, and then you lose a lot of money. You waste a lot of money.
So let's talk about that for a second. Yeah, part of what we do, just for our listeners who are learning about the capital gains tax solutions or the deferred sales trust for the first time, is we help high net worth individuals who are selling a highly appreciated business or real estate, cryptocurrency, public stock, private stock, defer capital gains tax. What's the capital gains tax? Well, it's somewhere between 30 and 50% of your gain, depending on what state you live in and how much depreciation recapture you received when you sell. And what we do is provide not only tax deferral, but liquidity, diversification, and the ability to go back into real estate or business, whether it be a startup business, whether it be angel investing in someone else's business, all tax deferred, so you can create and preserve more wealth. And let me just give you a quick deal story. So a recent deal was a $7.6 million sale for a gentleman who sold a highly appreciated apartment complex. And we saved his failed 1031, and he paid off all of his debt. And one of his biggest things was he wanted to defer the tax. He deferred about 1.1 million in tax that would have been gone. Instead, he has this full about 3.1 million sitting in the trust. But part of his thing was to diversify, right? And so he put some of it into hard money lending, some of it's going to go into the stock market, and then some of it's going to go into actual multifamily investment real estate, but not of his own, with other people who are taking on the debt. And he's diversifying with different operators, different sponsors, different syndicators in different parts of the U.S. and getting cash flow coming from different properties, right? So he took what before was his only single property. He had all the debt, all of his name, and all of the toilets, trash, and liability. And basically he's diversifying it. And he's also going to give a chance to retire. So in your shoes, Amit, maybe it could be a benefit where you say, hey, look, all right, I sold this big company for this big price, and yeah, I want to take a percentage of it, let's say 33%, and do some angel investing of my own or with others. Maybe the other 33% I'm going into stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Maybe the other 33% I'm going into commercial real estate. But the key is you're all tax deferred, right? It wasn't just you sold for 10 million and you paid 4 million in tax. You take that extra 4 that you would have paid and you diversify. So that's what we like to call transformational exit planning, which gives you more. Is that making sense? Yeah.
Could you, do something like, when an LP comes in and we, basically take a bunch of money in, right? Let's say you put in $1 million and then you are juicing these returns from all these businesses that are on the ledger. We batch all the returns, and we do a qualifying transaction that can be tax deferred. Can we do that?
Yes. One caveat, let's say it's $1 million into the trust, up to 80% can go into like an outside deal. What's an outside deal? Like a startup company or a business venture or a real estate development or real estate deal. The other 20% needs to stay liquid, diversified, investment grade security. So it's got to be in some of the biggest money managers and companies.
So 20% has to go into some sort of a managed account, and 80% can go into alternatives.
You got it. That's a good way to put it. Yep.
Okay, that's fabulous, because we can actually offer that as an awake service to LPs that want to come in on all these small to medium businesses and large businesses that are there on the network and, get cash flow out of that. But then you can actually create these tax deferred vehicles that batch these returns into them, right? And do like qualifying transactions that are then recycled.
Yes, exactly. And I'd have to get into the details with the tax attorney and the financial advisor. I'm kind of like the nurse, right? And the brain surgeons are the ones that kind of do that. But by the way, our role is the trustee. We're kind of like the broker, and we trustee for the trust.
Perfect.
It's got to be a third party, and the way we work it out. But yeah, I want to explore it with you offline. But if you're listening to this and you're interested in learning more, you can go to awake.vc. You can also go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to learn more about the Deferred Sales Trust. That being said, Amit, are you ready for the lightning round?
Let's go for it.
All right. So knowing what you know now, if you could go back to your 25-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget you would make sure you would do?
What I would tell him, you mean?
Yes.
I would basically say that, don't be scared about, anything. I think the fear factor comes from desperately wanting to be a certain something. And that's a purely imagined idea. And we get scared of it. We get scared of not being that idea that's in our head, because all we know is the idea in the head. We don't know things we don't know. So we're like, oh my God, everything's got to be this way that we know, and that knowledge is the cause of fear. If you didn't know that, you would just be doing all the things you wanted to do, right? You'd just be like, So it's like the, ignorance is bliss, except that it's not ignorance. Once you understand it, it's no longer ignorance. It's just bliss, because you know exactly what it is.
I love
so
that.
Then you can be powerful. You can do whatever you want.
Yes, we're only limited by the limits we put onto our minds, right? And so that's amazing. I love that. What's the one book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year?
I used to give, The Power of Now to a lot of people. I think that's a really good book to start when you're, looking for these sorts of answers and stuff. And awesome. More recently, I've started giving out the autobiography of a yogi. Believe it or not, it's a kind of a bizarre gift for most people. They're just like, "What is this?" And I just tell them, I say, You have to read this book, and then you have to wake up.
I love it. Yogi. Okay, got it. I'll check that out. Give me a mobile or digital resource you recommend for your business, besides ShopType, of course, which is amazing. Give me another one.
Another resource, I would say that the local TechCrunch and these local companies that are reporting on innovations here are very, very important for us to keep an eye on. Silicon Valley actually has a ton of good ideas. Not all of them work, but many of them apply to our businesses that we're in, like life sciences or whatever, like life, work, and play that we're in. We might be in small businesses around the world, around the country. Many of these ideas actually do apply. So I think these entrepreneurial websites are extraordinarily important, and people should keep an eye on it.
Fantastic. After all your success, Amit, and your mission to do everything and all of the folks that you're helping out, I'm curious, this is our last question because we're running out of time here. How do you stay centered in your values, and how do you stay encouraged to reach for new heights?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a spiritual question almost. Just in a way, why I called it awake was that realization in a way that things are only things, and material things are material because they're actually made of matter, and there's something other than matter here. There's something that matter appears inside of, and I call it awareness. So everything is happening inside of awareness, and if you are aware of that awareness, then you're always so-called centered and grounded in reality. You don't get carried away by those ideas or things or whatever happens to you. You're not worried about it because you're always focused on the reality of fact that everything changes, and that's what it is.
That's beautiful, and it's abstract and beautiful and clear. And I think only minds like yours can put it so well. So, Amit, I want to just first of all thank you for being on the show. I want to thank you for sharing your gifts, your talents with us. You're part of your story, and so much there with ShopType. I'm just so excited to dive into that. Would you remind our listeners where they can find you? Give them and then give them one last call to action for moving their businesses forward, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Sure. I run a company called Awake, which is a investment company, and we are looking for all kinds of businesses to help grow. And they don't have to be digital. I think everything is going to be digital. So, that's something that we help with. And we think big and small. I think small is big, so they can reach me at awake.vc. And there's a whole group of people around the world that are building Awake companies now in various verticals, in cannabis and wine and spirits and games and fashion and, dozens of verticals, food. So it's really exciting. And they can find all that on awake.vc. And also ShopType. ShopType.com is the core layer in a way. If you're a Shopify customer or a WooCommerce or any of the online customers, or you're not, you're looking to sell more, you're an influencer, you're a media company, and you're looking to get more revenue, you can go to ShopType.com and sign up. It's simple and free, and you can get started today.
Beautiful. Thank you, Amit. And I want to thank our listeners for listening to another episode of Capital Gains Tax Solutions Podcast. Hey, as always, we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust or using an amazing new innovative thing like ShopType is the best way for you to grow your business and grow your wealth. And with that, I wish everybody well. Please rate, review, and subscribe to this episode and to the podcast. And we so appreciate you. Go bless some people today with the gifts you've been given. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.